the Archangel of the healing of the nations. I was traveling with the Archangel healer of the nations. He is a protective angel of healing. We arrive in space, the kingdom of the air, the kingdom of adversity that is tormenting humanity, the pandemonium, where evil reign and govern. I felt like I was naturally in my earthly body as if I was in the land. There was no difference to what I was on earth and what I was in the spirit, yet we were in the kingdom of the air. It was an advanced and organized dimension. It was really a massive and magnificent empire, a superior kingdom. This realm of Satan was virtually a superpower, a great angelic organization, which is the cause of suffering and pain in the world of men. I was watching everywhere with curiosity. The Archangel told me, many of these mysteries you are seeing must be kept secret. They have nothing to do with the reason we can hear. We were now inside the clinic of Satan, where there were many wards and speciality. There were representation of people that live on earth in this hospital in this parallel world. They represented human by spiritual images and object. I had the impression that human were at the same time on earth, and at the same time in this dimension of Satan in space. People live on earth and also live in this realm without knowing. This dimension was parallel to the earth. Then we entered the first department, of the people that had sickness that lead to divorce. For the purpose of this department was to create sickness and condition that lead to divorce, like spiritual divorce, where people are married on earth and live in the same house but are divorced in the spirit. Most patients in this wards were separated in the spirit but continue to live with their partner on earth in the same house. When we enter this department, there were people on their bed, which was called bed of condemnation. These people were just images of the spirit of the people that were still getting on with life on earth. These patients on the bed of condemnation were suffering mostly from spiritual divorce, couples who think are married but in the spiritual they are separated. We were moving among these patients, and we arrived before a lady that was bed-stricken on her bed of condemnation. She was pregnant and was handcuffed. There were 2 females demon around her bed. This woman was screaming as if she was in birth pain. The 2 females demon were cursing the lady and saying words of condemnation to her. Moreover, the 2 demon were injecting liquid on the womb of the lady, through medical instrument that looked like a syringe. When I looked at the medical instrument they were using, I noticed some writing on the syringe, and I could read what followed. Production of symptom and all kind of complication. These demons were telling the woman, we are injecting you this curse in order to stop sterility. Our purpose is to slow the process of fecundity. The woman continued to scream as if she was in birth pain. I wanted to understand why the lady was handcuffed and trapped on the bed. The Archangel told me, this woman that you see is getting on with life on earth, but she is barren and cannot conceive. This sterility is a consequence of a covenant that his family had signed in the past. What happened was that her father was looking for a job, but could not find it. His friend told him to go visit a native doctor. Upon arriving there, the native doctor told her father, go get an egg, and throw that egg in the river. The man obeyed the native doctor and took an egg that he went to throw in the river. He did not know that by throwing the egg in the river he has sacrificed the fertility of his children and descendant. The man had 2 daughters and 2 sons. They were struggling to have children because their father had sacrificed their fecundity to the gods of water. But when this lady that you see came to the Lord and was born again, thanks to prayer in the church, 3 eggs came out of the river and landed in her house, and these eggs represent her children and fecundity that was recovered by force through prayer. But for this lady to see the manifestation of these children, she must go through liberation process so that she would leave this clinic of Satan and the bed of condemnation. I asked the Archangel, what is the secret for her liberation? He said, this lady called Eliane, need to be taken care of by the church leader. She need God intervention through the prayer and care of his pastor. This woman come to church and pray, but she need the prayer of his pastor in order to leave this evil clinic. Knowing this secret, the devil is using witches to cause the pastor to be busy, so that he will not have time to pray and care for this lady seriously, for they know that the care and prayer of her pastor is enough to get her out of the clinic of Satan. This is delaying her liberation. Despite the clarification of the Archangel, I still ask him with insistence, what is the lady supposed to do? The chief angel said to me, She need 14 days of prayer twice, meaning 14 days of prayers in fasting and retreat, and after a time of rest she must repeat 14 days of prayer again in order to manifest the glory of God. This must be accompanied with sacrifice and offering in order to make heaven available. The Holy Spirit was given to you, firstly, so that you will be able to make heaven available to your prayer, and secondly so that He would make your life available to heaven a response. But as long as the process of freedom is not followed, many will stay for years in the church and will not see the liberation that is available. Fasting and sacrifice and retreat of prayer, all these things make heaven available for you, but before you can see a response from heaven and divine healing, you must get rid of uncertainty about the will of God. You must study the Word in order to know what the Scriptures say about God's will on healing. The more you read the Scripture and understand God's will on divine health and divine healing, uncertainty will leave your heart. You will have a perfect understanding about the recommendation of the Word. As we continue moving inside the clinic of Satan, we arrive in a ward where the patients were tormented by family blood covenant. In this wards I saw several satanic doctors working to manipulate the blood of these people that were on earth. They work on several demonic influence upon the blood of these patients. Most maleficent influence that people are suffering from is related to the blood. If your ancestors had built altars and shrine in the past, if your ancestors had practiced idolatry and offered sacrifices to pagan god, all these abominable practices have contaminated and poisoned your blood lineage, and the existence of human is determined by blood heritage. Many people are suffering on earth because of the blood of their family, their bloodlines. In this place I saw many vats of blood, and they kept demanding more blood, for blood is the energy needed to support the evil kingdom and enforce their domination in the world of men. When your ancestor practice idolatries and sacrifice, your blood become affected for generations. When your blood is poisoned, the enemy will come against you through blood. Curses are transferred by hereditary through bloodlines. When a person contracts HIV, he will be forbidden from giving blood because his blood has become a carrier of the virus that can contaminate healthy people. Curses, reclamation and evil alter a virus that travel through family blood and determined man existence on earth. That's why you can be in America or Europe being reclaimed by the blood of your family. In the clinic of Satan, evil doctor enter in contact with people on earth through their blood. Stagnation and hardship were sent to people life through their bloodlines. They impose suffering in people life through bloodlines, and this manifested in the physical on earth. For when we had entered their laboratory, I saw many vats of blood where doctor performed manipulation. They inserted sexual impotence, sickness and condition that resist medical science. When a sickness and condition is not responding to medical science, you are dealing with demonic manipulation. I saw how they took photo of people and introduced them in the blood, and they proclaim words of cursing and infidelity up to death to the person targeted. These ritual influence people on earth because things were done through bloodlines channel, where sickness like diabetes, hormonal disturbances, tension, stress, anxiety, emotional traumatism would transfer to people life by blood and hereditary. They sent sickness to people on earth to cause human suffering. These evil spirits were in hurry and were determined to torment human. While we were leaving this place, I saw a woman that was acting like a mad person, and was bound in chain on her bed of condemnation. Demon played music that increased her madness, while the Archangel told me, "You see this lady, her family is not happy that she is married. They figure out ways to torment her and make her miserable. In order to stop her spiritual growth, they decided to administer demonic medicine onto her husband in the spirit, so that he become unfaithful and begin to abuse her verbally and physically, abandoning his family and the children, refusing to meet the need of their need. All these things has removed peace in the life of this woman, for his husband began to even sleep with other women. As a result, this lady that you see no longer have peace. It is a situation that was imposed on her." Finally we left the clinic and began to walk. My companion told me, "Everything you have seen in this place is true and veritable, and these things will be written and recorded in your mind." The angel saw that I was stunned by the suffering of these patients and told me, "There is an eternal suffering for those who inflict suffering on their neighbor, those who treat their neighbor with wickedness, Despite the suffering, you must understand that the church is the hospital of God in the world. You as the church must address the suffering of humanity. You must confront people's sickness, suffering and pain. Whatever the nature of pain or need, you have the obligation to give solution. The problem of humanity are physical, emotional and spiritual. Whatever you saw here in the clinic of Satan is the many kind of suffering that humanity is enduring. But I will show you how to save men from their suffering. Firstly, there are people suffering what is called the trial of Christian walk. This is not intended to bring down human, but in the contrary, it serves to grow their faith, to heal the heart from incredulity and increase the knowledge of Christ in His true love. The Lord will allow certain realities in Christian life to perfect the believer. The second type of suffering is the result of men's past mistakes, like David that kill his servant to get his wife and suffer consequence. My companion said to me, those who are suffering as a result of past mistake need to see men of God and confess in the presence of God. They must recognize that their pain is the result of their action. Unfortunately, instead of confessing, they are casting out demon, and the suffering prevail because of failure to confess. They must recognize that they had opened the door and the enemy has entered. The Archangel said, when people walked on the wrong path, suffering will come. He continued, when you feel that you are stuck in life, you must return to the Lord and seek clarification from God wisdom, and the Lord will reveal the source of suffering in your life. There are suffering that people are going through. They are not responsible for what is happening to them, but the devil has imposed suffering upon them.